Good afternoon and welcome back to the Lynn Lowdown. I'm Dani Vittori, and today we have on the president and founder of LynnLab. Thanks for coming on today.
Hey, thanks for having me. It was really a pleasure to be here.
Great. So I'll start by asking, you are the founder of this organization, so what really fueled that desire to create this?
So, well, I guess it's kind of a long story, but I'm a former biology teacher and biotechnology teacher. I taught in at Revere High. And I really love bringing the world of science to people. And this idea came out of, there's actually some models for this. So there's a few labs around the country that kind of follow this approach. There's one in Baltimore that I'm really interested in. I take a lot of look at. It's called the Baltimore Underground Science Space. And there's actually one in Cambridge called Boss Lab. They tend to be very science focused. They have scientists who come and do independent research projects, but they also have an educational component. So I saw an opportunity here in Lynn to really kind of get going with this, because there really aren't out-of-school science opportunities for people here. And LynnLab isn't aimed just at children. It's really meant to be for everyone in the city that's interested in learning about science and having some fun with it, especially biology. That's my background. So that's kind of how it came about. I actually had a conversation a number of years ago with Ted Dillard, who maybe you've had on the show. I don't know. He's the founder of the Brickyard Collaborative.
Yeah.
And Ted and I were talking about this idea of a sort of a bio makerspace, and there are models for this. And kind of fell asleep for a while. We didn't really take that any further. Ted certainly went, has been very successful with the Brickyard, but. I would say it was about 2 years ago, the city was designated bio-ready by an organization called MassBio. It's a statewide biology-based trade organization, which means that the city has the zoning and the sort of infrastructure in place to attract biology-oriented companies, pharmaceutical companies, biotech companies, to bring jobs here and to do work here. So I thought, well, this is a perfect opportunity to bring in something like LynnLab, because I think a lot of folks here maybe aren't familiar with what that even means. And so I'm just trying to help bring the world of science to the people here, so maybe they choose to take advantage of that in their future lives and careers, or they just want to learn more about it.
And what sort of services or events do you offer? So
right now, so our ultimate goal is to actually have a physical lab space in Lynn. We don't have that now. We've been working with folks in the mayor's office around that and economic development. So right now what we do are these pop-ups. So we'll bring a bunch of activities to an event, and they can be sort of kid-oriented, or really adults can engage in them too. We do some activities that involve looking at plankton from the ocean, because Lynn's an ocean, seaside city. We do some work with some lab equipment that people can have fun with and make art with. And so we do these pop-ups at events like Lynn Side Out, which we just did. We also have partnered with the Lynn Public Library and the YMCA and Raw Artworks and the Lynn Museum to bring some programming directly to them. Also with Leap for Education, which does after-school programming here in the city.
So you do quite a bit of collaborative work with other organizations.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's really important to collaborate, because the great thing about Lynn is there's tons of organizations that are in place already. So that infrastructure is there, but the science isn't there. So I feel like I'm just sort of adding on to some of the existing programs.
And for people who maybe come experience it for the first time, what do you hope they get out of this?
I think what I'd like them to get out of it is that this is something that they can do, that science is accessible to everyone. You ask kids, and when I was a teacher, you'd ask kids, what's your image of a scientist? And they give you this sort of typical answer about some guy in a white lab coat or whatever. And I want people to actually see themselves as scientists, or that they can do that. This is something accessible that anyone can do. Because our motto is, science for everyone, ciencia para todos.
And you also provide opportunities if people want to volunteer as well.
Absolutely. I mean, this is a volunteer organization. I actually have a job, so I can't do this full time. We have a small board of directors, and I have a group of volunteers that will come and help out. So absolutely, I'm always looking for volunteers to help out at events, but also to help with sort of the background running of the organization, helping with planning and budgeting and marketing and all those sorts of things.
And you did mention some of it's kid-oriented, some of it's not. Do you have specific age ranges you tend to target, or do you change it based on the events you go to?
It can depend on the event. So if I have an event that's going to be for middle school or high school students, I will bring in a whole different set of activities than if it's for elementary age kids, absolutely, or adults. So yes.
So what kind of equipment or material might you bring to some of these events?
So we do a lot of work with these pipettes. It's like you probably see them on TV shows. It's like an instrument that's used to measure small volumes of liquid. It doesn't look that exciting, but when you put one of these in a kid's hand and they will go forever doing this. You can just pipette make art and designs and so forth. We bring microscopes to look at plankton and other microscopic organisms. We do things like a DNA extraction. There's a whole, sort of menu of activities that we can bring. The other thing I wanted to mention too in the future plans of this is I'd like to have a space where we can invite folks to come in to hear maybe a talk on a scientific topic that's relevant to the city. For example, we might bring in a marine scientist to talk about pollution on the beach,
right.
Or any number of these things.
Yep. Tailoring it a bit so we live right next to the ocean.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, I definitely want to kind of loop that in. So, yeah.
And you said you started this about 2 years ago. What has been the reception so far?
When we're at events, we get a lot of people that come by, and people are very excited about it. When we have programs at locations, sometimes it can be a little challenging to get the word out. I think that's the main thing I think that we're trying to work on is getting the word out a little bit more so that when they see an event, like the one at the public library, they'll say, oh, that's cool, I want to check that out. So I'd like to see more folks turning out to some of these events. Again, I think it's new for a lot of people. They're not familiar with it, so they may not really be that willing to try. But if we can start off doing sort of festivals and pop-ups around, they'll start to see us, and maybe they'll start to come to some of our events. Yeah.
And you mentioned wanting a permanent space. What would be sort of an ideal permanent space for something like this?
I would say a space downtown on Union Street or right in the middle of town would be good. Somewhere that might have some parking would be great. It needs to have decent supply of water and some ventilation. Other than that, it's, actually think about a kitchen. Labs are kind of like kitchens. And because they have cabinetry and they have sinks and they have all these things. So something along those lines would be cool. I think I can probably get funding to help fit it out. It's just actually having the space that's accessible to people and that they can see and not have to go out of their way to get to.
Right, making it a more public space. That This is where we are.
This is where we are. This is where we do this. Yeah. So, there are some spaces around town that I've sort of looked at, but we're not really there yet. We're getting there.
Right now, like you said, your focus is on pop-ups, coordinating with other organizations.
Yeah. So trying to coordinating with other organizations, trying to work with the school system. We're getting there.
Ooh, nice.
It's been great working with the library and with the Y and all the other organizations in town because they're very receptive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So.
And you even mentioned you're one of the few or one of the only science nonprofits really that's in the city.
I'm not aware of any others. If there are, I would love to know because we could collaborate.
Yeah, but as of your knowledge, right?
Yes. Other than what the schools provide, that's true. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I have to ask, do you have any sort of a favorite memory or an experience that's come out of this since you started this organization?
I think what always strikes me, and I mentioned it earlier, is, the kids, they come up, you put a pipette in your hands. Now, anybody who works in science or works in a laboratory knows this is not the most exciting job that you can do in science, okay? It's kind of boring. But kids love it, and they will just do this all day long. They really see some great delight in that. I also had an opportunity to work with Raw Artworks on a presentation. It was tremendous being there. There's so much of a good vibe and good energy in that place. Mm-hmm. So that was also a good memory, yeah.
Yes, it does. It sounds so engaging and so cool. I remember, I saw the event at Inside Out, and everyone really looked like they were enjoying themselves with it. And I do have to wrap up in a moment, but was there anything else that I hadn't mentioned that you wanted to speak about?
Well, I just really encourage people to come check us out. If you see us around town, if you hear about it, please come check us out. If you're interested, if you're interested in getting involved, it's dpinkerton@lynnclab.org. Shoot me an email. Really, always looking for more people to get involved.
Great. Well, so thank you for coming on again to really share this really cool organization.
Yeah, it's great. Thanks a lot.
Right. Of course, anytime. And once again, I'm Dani Vittori. This has been the Lynn Lowdown, and we'll see you next week with more guests.